tutazuia watu wanaiba hiyo 45 billion times 3, 135 billion. Toa hiyo VAT. You don't need a task force. Presidents, kings, prime ministers who have brought changes to their country are people who hit the ground running. They entered office and there were executive orders and things were moving.
No caretaker committees.
No, forget. We will soon become a market. I'm telling you. We will become a market of goods produced in small, tiny countries like Rwanda. Unless we move in a manner I'm suggesting. My friend, I'll get annoyed. Countries without rivers like ours. Countries without water. Countries in desert can generate electricity. You are saying we cannot generate electricity if we are not thieves. It's just theft.
So you have to go for power purchase agreements, independent power producers.
Which is, we can't even talk about them here.
There is a renewed interest in manufacturing through the Big Four agenda, which actually seeks to increase the sector's contribution to Kenya's gross domestic product. That said, we are actually facing a number of setbacks with regards to the prospects of the sector in harnessing issues to do with eradicating of poverty in Kenya and improving livelihoods in the fullness of time. Now, how can we best respond to such setbacks and make sure that in the fullness of time, Kenya's manufacturing sector grows beyond what many expect? Well, my name is Richard Mwenja. Yours truly, always a pleasure to have you on this edition of Business Glide. And now to delve into this conversation is none other than the man himself, Herman Manyora, Kenya's most sought after political analyst and renowned public scholar. Good to see you, sir.
Good.
You're looking good today.
Thank you.
As always.
As always.
All right, sir. Yes. You've seen the recent exit of Kenya's Session of Manufacturers Chief Executive Officer, Madam Phyllis Wakiaga. Yes. And of course, with her exit, a number of issues have arose about the manufacturing sector. And one of them, several companies are coming forth and saying it's high time we look at the effect of government policy to manufacturers in this regard, whereby there are those who consider Kenya's taxation environment is a little bit harsh for them. So it brings about issues on ease of doing business. And also we've seen cases of tax evasion in the manufacturing world. Is it probably emanating from now the harsh taxation regime?
There are many things that manufacturers will face, many problems. If you are zeroing down on taxation, I think it's a generally acceptable thing that taxation in this country is just crazy. It's not to the common man, it's not to the worker, it's not to the professional, not the manufacturer. So yes, we will need to look at our taxation with a view to ensuring that it is not punitive and it does not stand in the way of investors, especially manufacturers.
All right.
Yeah.
We've seen a number of cases come up. You've seen the recent spat between Kenya Revenue Authority and Keroche Breweries Company. And a number of are coming on board and saying, a number of manufacturers say there's also a role of politics in defining the fortunes of their business. How true could this be?
That's not how I choose to see the Keroche issue. I choose to see the Keroche issue as a person who owes KRA, but has a problem paying. So once you start there, then you say, could there be a better way of sorting out so that they end up paying what they owe anyway?
All right.
Now, when people don't want to pay, they may bring in politics. But the question is, do you or do you not owe KRA? Tabitha Keroche must say that. Now she's called Keroche. Do you or do you not owe KRA? If you owe KRA, then you must pay. You can only negotiate on, soft ways of paying it. That's number one. But number two, we must look at this thing using the bigger picture. And say this, government should not behave like city council with that scaries chasing people all over. County governments chasing market traders.
And cottage industries.
And you see, you go to county government, they are still chasing people. You find when they are coming, everybody is locked. You are in kinyozi, unanyolewa, nusu wamefunga. Unaenda one side. That's not how government must behave. You look at Keroche and ask yourself, this is an industry. Could we even waive certain taxes to make them grow and create more jobs? You must look at it not in a rigid manner that they just have to pay. Could you even say, okay, Keroche, we can see you've gotten to a point because of Corona you are struggling. Although her problems goes below, way back before Corona. But as I say, you've gone through this stressful moment. The exchequer can give you 1 year.
Moratorium.
1 year, don't pay any tax. Move so that the next year, instead of the 300 workers you have, we expect you will have 500 workers. That's why I call for thinking in this country. We must begin to use thinking in this country. So that those two ways you can look at them, at the taxation.
Well enough, sir. Well, of course, you'll agree with me that the poisonous thorn in the flesh of many Kenyans and by large manufacturers is the current rise in fuel prices, pump prices in Kenya. Of course, sending lost waters, or I should say sending many manufacturers into the lost trajectories. Yes. Would you say that with the Turkana oil and you've seen the current negotiation between EPRA and the government around reducing the price of fuel, do you see it probably us getting to a position soon enough where fuel prices are going to come down, not just because EPRA has intervened or the government, but also because we've harnessed the potential of Turkana oil and other power generation enrichment that we have as a country?
Let's just look at it this way. Let's say, in a very simple way, you cannot talk of manufacturing in the countries. I think one of the big four. You cannot talk of manufacturing with the current cost
of energy.
You know, that would mean oil and electricity.
Yeah.
You cannot, you cannot use them in the same sentence. It is simply impossible to enter into manufacturing with the current cost of electricity and oil. You cannot. It's just a joke.
How about our
That's why even those who do so and avoid those who do so with some little profit have found ways of going around. Like for example, I'll tell you for a fact, and Kenya Power can come here. Wanichukue, tuingie gari, niwaonyeshe how many manufacturers are not paying for electricity. They bypass the meter.
Illegal connections.
Illegal connections because the tariffs are impossible. And then to mitigate the further losses, they don't pay taxes. Either they avoid or evade. You get it? So finally, because of your stupidity as government, you end up losing a lot more by chasing those taxes in oil. And, you know, fuel levy, fuel what?
Petroleum Development Levy and so forth.
Bring oil from the current 145 for petrol, to use petrol as an example. I use a petrol vehicle. It's current 145, 144. Bring it down to 80 or 70 and see the wonders. Look at the magic. Reduce electricity cost in this country by 60-70%. Let it be 30% because there's a lot of theft there. There's a lot of wastage. You know, I've said a lot of people, illegal connections, theft of money within power. Everybody's a thief in the sector. Deal with all that and the current cost of electricity will go down by 70%.
We have had the president come for the informed task force to look at power
we don't need a task force. What a task force for what?
Big thinkers.
No country moves in that direction. You move because we know what the problem is. We know. I ask, if I'm the president, I say, okay, the current price of oil is 145 for petrol. There are things government is getting from there. I called my minister in charge of finance. Nikitoa hii pesa kwa mafuta, what are the repercussions? Okay. Na nikitoa hii road maintenance levy, 18 shillings per liter, na nikitoa hii, okay, na hii, okay, toa hii. Let's face the consequences. Na nikitoa VAT,
I see.
Because it's a punitive tax. For example, how much do we raise from VAT? Oh, 60 billion, for example, 45 billion. So we shall toa hiyo, tutazuia watu wanaiba hiyo 45 billion times 3, 135 billion. Toa hiyo VAT. You don't need a task force. Presidents, kings, prime ministers who have brought changes to their country are people who hit the ground running. They entered office and there were executive orders and things were moving.
No caretaker committees.
No, forget. We know everything. What don't we know?
I see. But still under the same breath.
Even if you want to talk, call manufacturers. One morning, within 1 hour, they have told you the problem. Because I already know. You already know. They know. What's the problem? The current cost of fuel, electricity, cannot make a manufacturer do profitable business.
Skeptics to your arguments will say that probably as a country, Kenya, we do not have the capacity to fully exploit our power generation potential. I mean, how much of a task is this that we cannot meet it in the
My friend, I'll get annoyed. Countries without rivers like ours, countries without water, countries in desert can generate electricity. You say we cannot generate electricity if we are not thieves. It's just theft.
So you have to go for power purchase agreements, independent power producers.
Which is, we can't even talk about them here.
All right.
Because even being a Kenyan, you can't want to talk about that. We have people even buying electricity at more than they sell it.
All right.
Because of who they are buying from. You know.
Well enough, sir. Let's advance this conversation. Initially, way back in February this year, there was the United Nations Environmental Assembly, the 5th edition that was held here in Nairobi. One of the resolutions that was made is for manufacturers to go the green way and also ensure they mitigate issues with climate change, nature loss, and pollution generally. Now, where do we draw the line between growing as a manufacturing country but also making sure that we are really keen on what we are discharging to the environment, and how NEMA can chip in not to be punitive to the in the face of manufacturers?
Number one, research. Even those countries like Germany that are moving into the next level in terms of green energy and what have you, many other countries. Research, number one. Research, number two. Research, number two. Government must put money into research. Research generally, but in this instance, research into renewable energy. Because they are environmental, contextual dependent. You cannot talk of, for example, going high on solar energy in a country that doesn't experience sunlight.
Country in winter.
So this is country specific. So we need research. And number two, looking at what other people have done. We have the advantage that most of these things people have done them. So we are not reinventing the wheel. And number three, none of these things can work so long as theft is what is on the table. When we started geothermal, on all this energy, wind power and what, the reason why we have not succeeded is because of theft.
I see.
It is something to make people billionaires. So that's why this country will need to make a start. You look at a problem, you identify the challenges, the problems, and you face them head on without fearing the consequences, whether you are going to lose the next election or not. Yeah.
I see. Countries such as Singapore, Japan, China, and tier countries have gone big on manufacturing simply because they have invested much in automation. Now, if you have to look at the cost of technology that we need to borrow and bring it in Kenya here, it's quite a task for this country, you should say. Now, how can we leverage on the potential of our bilateral ties and in this context use our envoy, special envoy in such countries to import such knowledge and technology for our manufacturers? You know,
technology is not something you just import. Like you rightly put, those guys are highly automated. And people are using artificial intelligence. Now, here is a country that is high on labor. So that may not be the right direction to go. Why do you want to automate with millions of these young people without jobs? So you must find the middle ground. That the world is moving towards artificial intelligence, towards automation. But that world does not have the challenges we have when it comes to unemployed youth, educated, college educated, university educated. They don't have jobs. So how are you going then to advocate for automation? You get it? It's a question of looking at what you need best, what you can do now, what you can do tomorrow, what you can do in the distant future.
In the near future.
Yeah.
All right, sir. There's also a need for manufacturers to access the high-end market. Of course, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers has tried it best under the leadership of Madam Phyllis Wakiaga. However, where we stand at, do you feel like there is need for more partnerships with regional agencies such as AGOA, African Free Trade Continental Area, and so forth, to make sure that we have as much partners on board who can really help us market our products? Because we're also looking at the future of Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. We kind of are lacking behind in driving that particular agenda. Why so?
You know, I laugh at Africans. Africans are dying to get like that AGOA, to get markets in America, Europe. Yeah. The population of America and Europe is not even half of the population of Africa. You put Europe and I think America together, they are not almost half of our population.
All right.
Okay? Africa is a market on itself. That's why Uganda is our biggest trading partner. It's not UK, it's not America, it's Uganda here. If Somalia stabilizes, they become another trading partner. We have Ethiopia, we have Southern Sudan. We don't need Europe.
Really?
You know, when you target your manufacturing to feed into the local market and you grow the economy, you spur economic growth, you create employment, you get taxes, you increase the tax base, you collect more taxes, you begin to create a certain consumer class. Then you go to the next level. You will now satisfy that next consumer class that you have. Because if you grow the economy, if you grow manufacturing, then you create a bigger middle class, upper middle class, whose tastes are now different. Now, instead of them going to buy their things from Europe and America and Japan, you now produce those. But initially, just produce what you need locally to the size of the economy. And that will help grow the economy, create other markets within the market, create a middle class with different tastes. They want finer things of life. Now, those things of life, instead of importing them, you now create them and you go up and up. And then there is also the question of the regional market. By the time you've grown your manufacturing locally and made it strong, those international manufacturers will want to partner with you. They respect you because they know you can do it. And you have skilled labor that can do these things which America is doing from Mexico.
I see.
The things America is producing from China. They know you have developed the necessary skills in the country. The necessary manpower with the skills. They can tell you now, instead of producing Sony from China, we want to produce from Kenya.
Are you signaling that time is right for Kenya now to strengthen its value addition chains and be self-reliant?
Yeah, local. Target the local market. Produce for the local market. Okay? Then move into the regional market. Produce things for them. Because of the economy, in terms of how far it will have grown because of that, you will have created another class of people who now want better things than you can produce. Then you produce for them. At that level, that is 10, 15 years or whatever, these days things move faster. Even manufacturers in America will respect your capacity to produce, to manufacture because of the skills, because of the infrastructure. You will have put infrastructure in place. You will have developed significant Kenyans who can handle very fine technology and things of that nature. Then they can even now partner with you. And you are no longer just producing for Kenya or the region or Africa. You are producing for the international markets. That's what China did.
The very last, a section of corporate leaders have reached out to me and say they want to know the opinion of Herman Manyora with regards to the scorecard of Madam Phyllis Wakiaga at the helm of Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Of course, her tenure came to end in April this year.
I know.
Would you say that with regards to being the voice of manufacturing in this country and pushing for enough legislation that favors them and their business environment, do you feel that she has done sufficiently enough, or perhaps hers was more of just a passing cloud that didn't make much impact?
Madam Wakiaga tried what she could, create the legal infrastructure and talk to government to allow them do things in certain ways.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how will you rate her?
We will give her 6. She's not a bad girl. She tried.
She has tried. Because recently, in the past days, you've ranked Balala 2 out of 10 and so forth.
She tried because, you see, if we had time, we could look at what has happened in the manufacturing sector.
Definitely.
We could look at the political goodwill that they have managed to create. You could look at the legislative regime that they have pushed for. And even within the industrial understanding of industrial labor, the labor issues. And you could say they have tried. The short time she has been there, she has tried. But there's need to move faster. Because time is not waiting for anybody. Right. Other countries are moving. We will soon become a market. I'm telling you. We will become a market of goods produced in small, tiny countries like Rwanda. unless we move in a manner I'm suggesting, which is you move fast, you go into research, you remove useless laws that hinder growth, manufacturing growth. You attend to the issue of cost of doing business. You look at the cost of electricity, fuel. Unless you address those things, my friend, you'll get into problems.
Well enough, that's why we wrap up our conversation today, touching on the manufacturing sector in Kenya, its status this far, and what the future portends for it with regards to growth and really making an impact on Kenya's gross domestic product. Before I leave, allow me pay my dues to our sponsors for this particular edition, Mambo Safi Laundry and Cleaning Services. All you need to do is contact them today on the numbers displayed at the bottom part of your screen. They offer services, an array of them, from commercial to domestic ones, from as low as 400 Kenya shillings. This far, they have served over 10,000 happy clients here in Nairobi and within its environs. Also, remember, they offer special referrals on carpet cleaning, duvet cleaning, on sofa cleaning, and so much and so forth. So give them a call today and they take care of all your dirt. Herman, before I leave, allow me, of course, give a shout out to our fan of the week, that is Abbas Kiprop from Kabarnet.
Abbas Kiprop, thank you very much for being part of this family. Continue the conversation with us. Thank you very much.
All right, up next on your screen is the Business Glide African Proverb of the Day. Make sure you get posted on it, and also give us suggestions on what you need to get posted on with regards to matters of your economy and what the kind of impact you want to see our show have on the governance issues and the economic structure of this country. Until next time, my name is Richard Mwenja. God bless. See you then.